Clubland is the beating heart of cycling in Australia, where community and participation support Oz Cycling's vision of making Australia a nation of bike riders. Jess McClelland, the Vice President of Hawthorn Cycling Club, is one of the local legends nurturing the grassroots with a special focus on the women's scene. Well, Jess, thanks for joining us and happy International Women's Day.
Thanks a lot, you too.
Look, there's some pretty big things happening at Hawthorn Cycling Club, a lot under your guidance. What made you step up into a leadership role there?
I'm surely not going to take all of the credit, but yeah, I stepped up to Vice President after 2 years as membership officer. So I came up into that role mainly because there was a vacancy, and a lot of people said I'd be good at it, and just wanted to get a bit more involved in the decision making at the club level as well.
Well, and you actually have a dedicated women's officer on the club committee. What kind of prompted you to do that?
Well, I guess that sort of, if we track back to about 2010, 2011, well before I got involved in the club, and so Liz Hall, she was the driving force behind that. Around that time, Hawthorn only had about 5 or 6 female members, but from what I've gathered and talking to other members who were around then, Liz just made it feel like you're part of something, and that it was a lot bigger than what it at the time, and that momentum sort of grew, and she had the support of Laurie Lovelock, who was the president for a lot of those years, and I guess he just said, well, what do you need? And we'll support you in doing what you want to do. And I guess that approach has grown throughout the years, and just having that space to decide what we want to do as a women's subcommittee and as a group, and just presenting those opportunities to members.
I mean, from participation to racing, it really seems like Hawthorn's done a pretty good job of kind of inspiring more women in particular to pick up bikes and get on them. Like, in one way, you could look at it in a kind of if you build it, they will come field of dreams kind of approach. Or do you think there's a bit more of a secret sauce kind of recipe to getting women through the door and on bikes?
I think getting through the door is at the Hawthorn, we have quite a strong recreational program as well. So there's that. A lot of people come in and say, I don't want to race. That's not my thing. And for some people that still might be the case, but they find other ways to get involved. So on our recreational weekends, social rides, we have our women's camp as well, but there's also those racing pathways are encouraged as well through our criteriums and through winter road racing as well.
Yeah, I've heard about these famed women's camps. They sound like a little bit of fun. You also are thinking kind of outside of the box, and I know that you have a pretty strong presence in eSport on Zwift because one of your members, Ange McRae, every single time I go in there it says Ange McRae is Zwifting, and I've seen her pop up in a lot of the races. How important do you find that community stuff and just kind of getting out there and giving it a go?
It's definitely important, and I guess throughout, so Ange doesn't ride outside anymore. She used to do a lot of combine racing and road racing, but she's just completely taken to Zwift. And then during the recent lockdowns that we had in Melbourne as well for quite an extended period of time, she was there on Zwift, just started running a weekly social ride, and then that snowballed into more Hawthorn members getting out there and or getting indoors on Zwift and joining in racing and TTTs on there, and that sort of helped create a community as well. And there was a lot of other members that put in a lot of work over that period, and that almost provided a springboard for when we returned to riding outside from October and November as well. So it's got to that point where there's that real groundswell, and there's a lot of people there. So if you want to talk in Zwift racing, there's Ange to go to. If there's a handicap you want to race, then Alison Skeen's your person. So we've got there's a real group and a lot of knowledge being shared around our women members now at Hawthorn.
Yeah, isn't it incredible just the sense of community that has been forged through things like lockdowns and even members with health challenges that may not be able to partake in traditional club activities that are still being involved. Something that we do know is that people, if you can see it, you can be it, essentially, is the thing that we always say about the women. Do you think, including the participation space, but also you stepping up into a leadership role, do you think that kind of role modelling is encouraging other women within the club to also step up into those positions?
Yeah, I think we've had some really super strong women's officers throughout the period. So Beck Covington, she's someone else that I'd like to mention. So she was someone that through the She Race program that she started with from members from other clubs, that was something that really got me into racing about 3 years ago. So that's mainly a Facebook community that's developed where we have just information sharing about what races are going on, what's happening at all the clubs, and just saying, I'll be here at this race if you want to have a chat beforehand, just to really encourage people to turn up and have a go. So, and yeah, seeing those women visible on the committees in different roles, not just as women's officers, I think is really valuable for every club as well.
Oh, unreal, Jess. I just love what you guys are doing at Hawthorn. Thanks so much for joining us, and keep fighting the good fight at Clubland. And I think that we're building a future generation, an army of young ladies stepping up within the cycling world. So thanks again.
Great. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Kate.